Hi, welcome back to You Talks. I am Mukesh Sharma and you are watching the episode 8 of How to Perform Under Pressure. So in last 7 episodes we have actually talked about multiple things. One was about the stress, that how do you differentiate between stress and pressure. Then we really went deep dive to know what is cognitive appraisal, what is the cognitive distractions. And in all these 7 episodes when I have published it on Facebook or LinkedIn or on the YouTube, a lot of people were giving a very good comments about what I was talking about, and most of the things were very appreciated by them. So thanks to all the viewers, all the supporters, and all the people who are encouraging me to do this. But I also got some comments where people were also asking that they always look at pressure as a challenge and not as a crisis, and they were suggesting some of the important solutions how to manage the pressure. So I just wanted to tell to all those viewers, yes, we are coming to that point now. In the first 7 episodes, we wanted to go to the depths of the things, that what is the anatomy of choking, how does the pressure situations are created, and what happens when you try to manage it. So now I'm coming to the part 2 of this book, which is my loved part, and it is called How to Manage the Pressure, and what are those 22 pressure management solutions. Of course, the book talks about 22, but I'm sure that some pressure solutions you would have been using in your personal life, and today we are going to talk about that. So I have listed the 5 pressure management solutions today we are going to talk about here. And the most important thing I want to talk is that if you recall, on the Hudson River in 2010 or 11, a plane was landed, and we also watched a movie around it. So the pilot of that movie was, not the movie, but what the Airbus at this point of time was Chesley Sullenberger, Sully, and when he was very much appreciated for all the calm and demeanor during the crisis. He told the investigators, he mentioned one very important thing. He said, I immediately took over flying from my co-pilot and made a series of command decisions. I knew for 42 years that I have been depositing small experiences into my bank deposit, which helped me to avoid this crisis. So that is the more pressure management solutions what he used. Other important thing which comes out from one of the ESPN New York, Michael Kay, who was the 2-time Super Bowl champion, and he said that I do not perform well under pressure just because I considered it as a challenge, but also because I have been in those situations and scenarios multiple times. So these are some of the important things the book talks about, but we are going to talk about the 5 important pressure management solutions today. One is you have to befriend the moment. When you're saying that, how do you befriend the moment? They talk about think of pressure as a moment, as a challenge or an opportunity rather than the crisis. It's a very simple thing to do, but what it really does in our mind is that when we start considering pressure as a challenge, then the adrenal starts pumping up, and we get positive mindset, and we get the positive adrenaline which comes out. But the moment we start considering it as a negative or as a crisis, then what happens is that the non-adrenal part becomes more active, and it becomes it becomes a problem. Now, if I talk about my own personal examples, yes, many times when you are under the pressure, you start trying to befriend the moment. You say that yes, it is there, I'm the best person to handle it, and this is something I will do and take it as a challenge. So very important thing, befriend the moment. Second is that sometimes we start looking at a pressure situation as maybe one or the last or the final opportunity. Now, of course, that puts under a lot of pressure, and you can identify that whenever there's a final match or a knockdown match or a knockout match or a semi-final, that becomes one of his situations. And in such kind of situations, you start considering that yes, maybe it is not the multiple opportunity thing. It's one of the important thing which is happening. So you have to somehow consider in your real life, if you're approaching a sales call or a big deal, or maybe you are going for a presentation or a stage show, you have to consider that it is one of the multiple opportunities you're approaching and not the final opportunity. So what it does is that it actually somehow calms you down, and you can start looking at one of the opportunities as a normal opportunity, and you focus on your work. Third thing which it talks about is downsize the importance. Now, it's very, very important. It does not mean that you become non-serious. It does not mean that you are not taking something important to you as important and lightly. What it does only means is that you are trying to shrink the pressure moment. You are trying to shrink the size of the situation so that you're able to constantly focus on the work in the hand. And it has worked very well because if it talks about some of the book parts, it says that the powerful antidote is to be mindful of what is most important in your life. And that's why if you downsize the importance of something which is going to happen to you, or if you're in a pressure situation, it is going to relax you down. Of course, in the last episodes, we talked about how to lower the stress so that you don't have a negative multiplier to the point that you are downsizing the importance of something, and it acts starting and gets negated by if you're having more stress. So that is a separate thing which we need to manage. But more importantly, you have to downsize the importance of something so that you can focus on your mission. So that's why it brings you the next point, that the fourth pressure management solution is how you focus on the mission. Now, in this case, the most of the time they say here and now. And when the here and now we say, it means that if you're able to focus on the work in the hand, if you're able to follow the process what you are focusing on, it somehow reduces the pressure you are in, because you are diverting your mind. You are not getting cognitively distorted, or you see the cognitive distortion which we heard in the earlier episodes, and you're able to only focus on your task. So what it does is the focus on your mission very clearly, very hard, and only engaging in your action, what we call as the action or the karma, is that for first it prevents distraction, thoughts generated by the self-consciousness or external distractions. Second is focusing on your mission keeps you on track because it cues you to do the things, and you become overtly busy in executing the things in your hand. So that's why it's very important to just focus on the mission, and more harder. If you're just more harder focusing on the mission and avoiding any external distractions, it will really going to help. Now the next point which we're going to talk about in today's episode is the fifth point, is the anticipate, which it talks is that anticipate the unexpected. Because if you're able to create those scenarios of anticipation, that if this thing goes wrong, if you're not able to win this deal, if you're not able to clear the interview of your examination or your interview of the job, or if you're going to fail in examination, what is going to happen? So you have to create a lot of what if scenarios in your mental mind frame so that you're prepared for it, and you start thinking beyond that. While it is a paradox that you're focusing on something in your hand as a focus on your mission and really going by the process and executing the things which are important for you to execute the work, but more importantly also along the side you have to anticipate and cool you down and calm you down if something goes wrong, what maximum bad going to happen. So this anticipation, expecting the expecting the unexpected, is the most important thing which it really talks about. Now, very interesting things. I'm sure that you would have used these kind of solutions subconsciously or inadvertently. You may not be aware, but yes, if you start practicing these things more consciously when you're approaching a pressure situation, this is really going to help. So today we talked about 5 of those pressure management solutions out of the 22, but there are more interesting solutions going to come. So keep watching it. Stay tuned. We'll see you in the next episode number 9. Thank you so much.